Greetings and salutations, Earthlings. I'm Teresa Zuby, astrologer, tarot reader, and chaos wrangler, here to map the bullshit and the brilliance in the stars. This is my second take because I just said the whole thing, and yeah, it wasn't recording. And funny, it is a solar eclipse. Although it's a partial solar eclipse, we're not going to see, we're not going to see the eclipse itself, but we may be feeling the effects. And not the record button not actually being on is pretty much very in line with what eclipses can do. They can eclipse things, they can reveal things, they can show us something new and unexpected that we didn't see before. We can feel eclipsed. What I was saying and what I wanted to highlight with this video is, in general, what I'm feeling with this new moon in Virgo is that we want to take a look at how we take care of ourselves. What does our self-care practice look like? The key with the Virgo archetype is when they're natural at serving others, taking care of the little details. It's like a physician's kind of energy where we want to help other people in the very small and incremental ways that are just the nature of caregiving. So the key to that is to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves first, because when we take good care of ourselves, that actually promotes us giving to or taking care of the needs of others. Because if we're cared for well, we have more to give. Okay, I'm totally thrown because of that whole thing. And that is really what eclipses can be like. What might be happening is that we feel thrown in some way. Something, we've the best laid plans. And Virgo in particular likes to schedule and have things organized and neat. But the reason that we have things like that is so that in the event of sudden shifts, it's easier to kind of pivot and take care of things. I spun right around and hit the record button and started the video all over again. But because I had thought about what I wanted to say, it's not too hard to come back to it. Especially when we're working with the moon, cycles are really helpful in tracking. This is the second new moon in Virgo. It is the one that is a partial eclipse. The first new moon in Virgo was almost like a hint. Is there something about your health or the way that you organize things or the way that you eat or exercise or whatever it may be? This is going to vary more depending on where it is in your birth chart. And for that, you just need to know your rising sign and look for where Virgo is on the house cusp. But we may have been getting a glimpse at what we wanted to change or what we wanted to implement. New moons are initiations. And the first new moon was on August 23rd. So it could be helpful to look back at that August 23rd date and think about, what was I starting? Did it work, or do I need to rev it up again? And likely you might be getting a little bit more of like a kick in the pants kind of reminder that, hey, you better start working on that again. And the other thing that we can look at is on March 14th, there was a full moon total lunar eclipse that occurred. And this was the lunar eclipse would have been about something being like something emotionally kind of taking you out of your out of your feelings, out of whoa, what the hell was that? And I looked at my own chart just to give you a useful metaphor. And for me, this fifth house, the Virgo rules the fifth house of my chart. And the fifth house is the house of joy, the house of fun. And so I have to really plan my fun really well. But it's also children. It's also, you know, what lights me up, what sparks me. And, you know, back when I look back in March at the time of the lunar eclipse, I actually went back and looked at my journal, which is why I love journaling, because sometimes it's easier to see things when you look back on it. And I wrote, okay, I am consistently going to shift focus and start fresh each day. I want this journal to reflect more of what is happening in my life right now. And the emphasis was on my, because I felt I was not having much fucking fun back in March. I remember that. You know, there were just a lot of things going on with my life, and some of it involved like my children, which is also a fifth house thing. But I really wanted to focus on like, okay, I'm going to be no good to anybody if I'm a miserable bitch. And that struck me in a really emotional way. And that's kind of what that lunar eclipse would have been, is something I was realizing that my joy was being eclipsed by taking care of others. So it was a pretty literal representation of what that Virgo like fingerprint sort of resembles. Now, at this time, when I link it back to 1st August 23rd, I came in knowing, I'm like, okay, some of you have noticed that I've been doing a lot more content creation because I absolutely love this shit. Like this is my jam. It lights me up. And so there were some habits I started, or things that I scheduled around August 23rd when I wanted to really throw myself into this. And they're kind of solidifying now. Now the eclipse can bring in like twists and turns, and I had started one video and then my sister called, and if she watches this, I'm not throwing shade, dude. I wanted to answer the phone. She actually called twice. And because our brother died, when you call twice, that means like, oh fuck, somebody died. But she didn't mean to call me twice, and I answered and interrupted. So this is really like my 4th attempt to do this video. But I'm sticking to it, you know? It's like, no matter what this solar eclipse does to distract us from our purpose, or we can use that to help us refocus on, you know, what do we need to be clear on? What bad habits do we need to let go of? Or, you know, where do we need to hit the restart button over and over and over again? And in August 23rd, this may have been more of an intentional shift that we noticed, where we wanted to focus on organization or taking care of ourselves. And with the solar eclipse, it's probably a little bit more of like a push or like a tap on the forehead. I've got a lot of forehead to tap. But anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to share with regards to the new moon, the second new moon in Virgo occurring today. It'll be exact at, I think it's 2:54 p.m. Central Time, but the new moon and full moons have sort of a 2 to 3 day period where that energy is occurring. Anyway, if you are interested in a personal reading, I do astrology or tarot. I can tell you where this eclipse is happening in your chart. My information, I'll put the link down here when I go and edit, which is a new skill that I am learning. And thank you if you've remained here this long. I hope you have a great day. Peace. Namaste.